Hold up.
Every day I wake up, wake your ass up.
The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Loren LoRosa is here as well. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
She's the only other person from Delaware that I know of.
No, you know Joe Biden, President Biden.
Joe Biden, yes, I know him as well. And you know, as Patience, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Patience Foster is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Patience.
You gotta tell her what you talking about.
I'm about to. You know, on Imaginary Players, she says, and Patience, what the fuck? When she's about to, I guess, do something she's not supposed to. And Patience says,
No, she said Patience be like
what the
Cardi.
fuck? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when Cardi's about to do something she's not supposed to, I guess, you pop up in her mind like, Cardi, what the fuck?
Patience is the founder and CEO of Cream Labs, but, you know, she's behind, you know, some of the biggest artists, rollouts in hip-hop.
Correct.
Right? And you've been with Cardi since day one.
Yeah, 10 years.
Wow.
Yes, 10 years as of September of this year.
Wow.
Well, let's start there. How did you meet Cardi, and how did you get on part of her team?
Oh, I love this story. So when I had my son, I decided not to go back and work for Hertz. I was renting cars.
Hertz, okay.
After I graduated college, I ended up having to rent cars. There were no jobs. So I decided to open up a salon in Wilmington called Fixated the Salon with my tax refund money.
Lauren needed you. Lauren needed you.
First of all, I've been supporting since day one. We was in there doing all the photos. I was in the photo shoot.
Yes.
We can tell when the
hair
salon closed, too, because everybody got to continue on.
You know what? So basically I was, you know, just operating in the salon, but I opened the salon because I always wanted to be a publicist. So I'm like, I'm going to use my stylist as like my case studies, my clients, while I self-teach myself, right? So I would look for opportunities for them outside of the booth was like my selling point. So fast forward maybe 4 years, my partner actually, who's here, he was bringing a lot of talent and celebrities to Wilmington, and we're a very, very small market. So there's not a ton of talent that comes in and out of Wilmington, especially because we're so close to Philly.
So what, he do parties or something?
So he would throw live events.
Gotcha.
There were a ton of different events and talent and celebrities that, you know, he would bring out. So my stylists were telling me, hey, this girl named Cardi is coming to Delaware. She's coming to dance. We want to do her hair and makeup. I didn't follow her at the time, but I followed their lead. And I reached out to Bun and asked him, you know, would you mind putting in a word with Cardi and her management? You know, we'll do her hair and her makeup at no cost. So he followed through and he made the connection, the very first connection between myself and Cardi. And she pulled up with her manager at the time in a PT Cruiser. She had this orange wig on. She came in. Yes.
Oh, Shaft. Shaft had a PT Cruiser?
Probably.
This was so early
Long
on.
ago,
This was
okay.
like literally like before Love and Hip Hop era.
Any Haitian?
Yeah, he's Asian.
Oh, yeah, PT Cruiser.
Yeah, PT Cruiser. Yeah. What up, Shaft? Stop
We had a PT Cruiser.
So, yeah, she pulled up. She got her hair and makeup done, and she was just like, you want to come to the club with me? And I'm like, cool. You know, I got a sitter. Why not? So we go to the club, and she gets dressed. She asks me to help me pick her money up while she's dancing. We order some wings. We go our separate ways at the end of the night. And about maybe a month or two later, I had started filling out internship applications because I was just like, I'm 26. I think I was, how old was I? Oh my gosh. I was 26. And I'm like, you know, my son is 2, 3 at the time. I really still want to be a publicist. I need to make a move. So I just started filling out all of these internship applications for Fashion Week, which is kind of what segued us into that space. And I took an internship. I slept on my friend's couch in Newark, New Jersey. And maybe my third day on the job, I ran into Cardi backstage. She was walking in the Gypsy Sports Show because they wanted all like internet or, you know, social media personalities. And she was like, oh, like, what are you doing here? Are you doing hair? And I was like, no, I'm a publicist. And she was like, oh, I need one of those. And I was like, okay. And her and Shaft invited me to dinner that night. And I walked in and they introduced me as her new publicist. And that's how.
Wow.
That is what's up.
This is before rap. This is before Love and Hip Hop.
Before everything.
Wow.
we were selling makeup, Wash Poppin' Cosmetics.
Yeah.
Before a lot of everything. The cosmetics.
I'm sorry, your hair salon.
Oh,
You still have your hair salon in
no.
Wilmington?
So as we continued to like grow and the business grew, I, you know, leveraged what I was building with her into an agency, which is how Cream Labs came about. And, you know, I decided that, you know, maybe like 6 years after having the salon open, I just didn't have the capacity or the bandwidth to do it. And the industry and the salon industry has shifted so much. People wanted their own suites, their own brands. So I just focused on building out and expanding the agency. But that's what, all of it led up into building with Cardi.
I love that story.
Did you do her hair for her recent court case? The wig? You got compliments on that.
She don't do hair no more.
I was here for the wigs, definitely.
But talk about that. I mean, Charlamagne mentioned that it's funny, but I think even when we saw her switching wigs recently, people instantly started remembering the first time we saw her in court, and everything was a moment when she was showing up to court, right? And you guys have been really good about making moments from the beginning. Was Cardi always the artist that wanted to do that? Did you have to talk her into it? What was her first moment where she's like, this is how I need to live the rest of my career?
Oh, her first moment. I would say it was the week that we met, is the week that we decided to work with each other, which was Fashion Week. And I say that because the way that she showed up, so once we decided all right, we're going to work together, there was a few shows left. And the last show that normally happens during Fashion Week was the Blondes. So, as an intern, my job was to get people from their black trucks to the front, to their front row seat. So I'm like, nobody really knows you outside of the personality that you built on social media. Let's just start increasing your visibility right away. And again, I'm self-teaching myself at this point. I'm just doing what feels right. So I told her to come to the show, and I was just going to seat her. And I'm like, just come and just look like you belong. She shows up in a turban, these wooden nipple pasties, and a flared bell-bottom pant. And everybody was just if they didn't know who she was, they wanted to know who she was. And I just found a spot on the front row and just set her. And that told me that she was, number one, she was willing to be collaborative and trusting. It wasn't well, I got to do this, or I'm not really invited. I don't want to show up. You're not going to always get an invite in the very beginning. Sometimes you got to show people why you should be invited, right? And that does come with a risk, obviously. But she was willing to thug it. She okay, where I got to be, I'm going to show up. What I got to wear. Okay, I'm there. And she just went with it. So at that moment, I knew she loved and wanted to leave an impression wherever she went and really make a moment. And I think we just always carried that same energy throughout everything we did.
I love that, because that really defines Cardi B as a person. A lot of times, people don't hear that side of it. Charlamagne and myself, we've seen her early on. So we've seen the grind. We've seen her eating the McDonald's in the morning. We've seen her going to the teen parties. And we've seen that grind and the clubs and the strip clubs and the regular clubs and it is. So I love that story, because it shows that, sometimes people are oh, no, she's this, she's that. No, she deserves to be here. She worked her ass to get here.
Absolutely. Against all odds. And it's great that I was so fortunate to, number one, be, just given the space to we gonna figure this out together. You've never been necessarily a publicist of X amount of years. I've never been a superstar. We just gonna figure this out and trust in one another's intuition and one another's vision. And she literally being there to see all the no's. I love that I'm still in a seat to be able to see all of those people just eat their words. So many people were just it'll never happen for her.
I love more particularly about your story, how you went through, how you used the hair industry to step into PR.
Yeah.
That is so dope.
Yeah.
Right?
It was, living in a place like Wilmington, and Lauren knows we're Delaware down. Wherever we go, it's yes, we're from Delaware. But the community and the network is so small, it's so limited. And to be in a space like public relations, you have to put yourself in spaces where you can rub elbows and kiss babies and build a network. So I still felt before I put myself out there, I wanted to have enough confidence and experience just from an entry level point of view. So looking at my stylists more like clients was really what helped me to feel okay, I got enough confidence to walk into a space and feel I know how to represent people, even if it's on a small level. I feel I had the fundamentals to represent someone and help leverage whatever talent they have into a brand. I didn't know that that's what I was doing so early on, but now that I'm much more aware of my capabilities and what I'm able to do, I know that I'm able to take talent and leverage that into a brand that is sustainable outside of just one category.
Let me ask you a question. What's the difference between managing talent and managing the perception of the talent?
Oof. I think that that's a piece of it, managing the perception of the talent, because the perception is essential to the value of the brand at the end of the day. But managing the talent, I think there's a lot of different aspects to managing the talent. You have day-to-day. You need someone who's consistently paying attention to the logistics, the calendar, all of the things that keep everything moving. And then you have people that have their expertise. You have your music managers, you have your brand managers. And I think managing the talent overall is just making sure that there's consistently a strategy. There's consistently a plan. Like, I don't know if people think that we're just winging it. Like, there's always a plan and there's always a goal. There's always like, we know exactly what it is that we want to do and what we want to accomplish. But I think really managing the talent is understanding the product itself, which is what the talent is, whether it's music, whether it's making clothes, whatever it is. And then understanding how you create a relationship that's engaging with that audience in a way that grows the brand, that builds value in the brand. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to leverage that brand into something that is legacy forging.
But let me ask you a question. How do you decide when somebody's a friend or when somebody's a client, right? Because you're going to have clients that pay you for certain things, but I'm assuming Cardi B is not just a client, she's your friend, meaning...
You can see that with them, though.
But like, so if you're working with somebody and now Cardi B is beefing with that person, you can't work with that person anymore. But with a client, it's just like, it's just a check. So how do you decide that? And if Cardi's like, let's say it's not rocking with somebody, you say, all right, well, I can't work with that person anymore. How does that work?
I mean, that's a very real thing. Like, and I think also it's just, what is your philosophy as what is your philosophy as an entrepreneur or a boss or whatever it is that you do, right? And I feel like whatever your philosophy is and your principles are is how you show up when it comes to making those type of decisions. And my philosophy is a lot different from other people. Like, there is no real defining line between personal and business. Like, my business is very personal. Like, my business feeds my kid. My business builds my livelihood and keeps my livelihood and maintains a lifestyle that I like to live. Like, so my business is very personal because, if you compromise my business, now you're compromising the way I eat. So when it comes to Cardi and any other client, and anyone can tell you, like, wherever there are boundaries or there's an opposition or someone that, has done something in a way that not only makes them feel away, but has messed with their business and their livelihood, I could never do business with you.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. Like, I think some people try to convince themselves that it's okay because it's just business, but there is no way that you don't have an emotional attachment or a personal relationship with somebody that you go into a conference room or on a conference call every day and fight for them to eat. We gotta have a personal relationship. That doesn't turn off when I decide I want to take another check from somebody that doesn't align with you. Like, we gotta be on the same side for this to work.
Yeah. Do you guys generally only manage artists, or is it actresses? Is it actress?
We're not specific to artists. For the company that we've recently announced and built, Fifth and Freedom, it's not just specific to artists. It's just specific to talent, but talent that is talent that I can see true value in. Like, because one of the main things about Fifth and Freedom is that it's a new way of management and it's a new way of looking at talent. Where some people are just more reactive, they're waiting on an email, they're waiting for a deal, they're waiting to respond. Like, it's about being proactive, but also making sure that we're not limiting the talent to this one category, that we're building a brand that can sustain over years without necessarily having to be active in one category. So it's about, like, building legacy, equitable opportunities, like joint ventures, things that, at the end of the day, they'll have something to pass down or they'll have something to fall back on, because everybody doesn't, whether you're an artist, whether you're an influencer, you may not want to make content every single day once you reach a certain point. It gets tiring. You may not be inspired. You may not be ready to drop a project every other month to meet a certain goal or drop a single, right? But how are you sustaining in between time? I think that comes from, like, building real brand value, so that way you can, build a true legacy.
How do you deal with somebody like Loren?
First of all,
Right? No, I'm serious, right? Because Loren from Delaware. But she thinks she
Y'all ain't let her ask a question yet, and she's from Delaware.
Right.
no.
But she knows Patientce. Her and Patientce are best friends.
Yeah, I want
but
y'all
I want to know, how do you deal with her? So, meaning, she's gonna poke the bear. She's gonna find out the story. But that's your client, right?
And I'm
so she gonna call you and say, I just heard this, but you don't want the story out, or maybe the story's wrong. In most cases, you can just say, give them the middle finger, keep it moving. But now with her, and I've heard her call you mad times. Mad times. So how do you deal with somebody that's a friend, but you have a client?
This nigga here can't hold water for nothing.
Excuse me? You.
Right? I'm like,
neither can you.
So how do you?
I don't even know nothing.
You're not asking anything that's wrong.
But like I said, so how do you deal with because you have relationships with TMZ, you have relationships with Loren and these blogs. So how do you deal with that?
I mean, I think like I'm just real big on like whoever I'm dealing with on a level like that. If you're calling me directly and we're having conversations about things that are pertaining to clients, like we already have a level of trust there and a level of respect. Because most people will send out, and I was a publicist years ago. I am no longer the publicist. For everyone that is still mentioning me in articles, I appreciate it.
Yeah. What's your exact title? I know you're the founder and CEO of Cream Labs, but what's your title? Like,
I'm also the co-founder in Fifth and Freedom with my partner Bun, but I'm also I'm the brand for Cardi. I'm her brand manager and her creative director.
Gotcha.
Yes. So at the end of the day,
stop calling me.
I work across her entire business at the end of the day because again, like the longest standing member of her, of her group, of her team. So I'm involved in every single conversation at the end of the day, because we built that currency of trust there. But no, I was a publicist, and that was, what got me into the spaces that I needed to be in. But as I understood what I'm truly capable of, just outside of helping to control narratives and stories.
So you got old pictures of Loren to make sure she don't put that now. And
me and Loren used to share Airbnbs in LA and go out to like BET Awards. We didn't have a name at the time, so we weren't on the list. So we were just finessing.
So you know where the bodies are for Loren.
Baby.
Yeah. She know where the bodies
We've been friends for well over a decade. We grew up together. So, but how I deal to answer your question, I think it's just already a level of respect there. So she's gonna tell me what it is. This is the information I have. What do you want to do with that information, right? And it's two things for me. Are we on the record or are we off the record? Number one.
You're always on the record with Loren.
No, you're not.
No, you shouldn't be.
No.
I really do this.
That's against like journalist guidelines.
Yes, I really do this. It's a lot of times when I call her too and be like, before she even starts, completely off the record.
I know. I know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's like, I'm going to approach, I think I do a very good job. Like, I don't blur the lines between what I do as a professional and who I am as a person because they're pretty much aligned. Like, who I am as a professional is how I show up as a person. Yeah. So how I deal with her is just in any friendship. Let's be transparent. Let's be honest with each other. This is what I have to say. This is what I'm not going to say. Hypothetically, I'm going to say this. And, we just work through it together. And I don't ever think for a moment, I'm never going to have a conversation with somebody that I got a second guess. Is this information going to leave this phone call? So it's like, I think because of our friendship and the trust and the history that we have there, we can do good business. So
how do you decide what's best for your client and what's best for your girl? And what I mean by that is like, you see like somebody like Loren in the position she's in, she's growing, like, she's building her name. You might have some information that I could get the People magazine, but if I give it to Loren, it's really going to help Brown Girl Grinding. So what do you do in those situations?
I think it depends on the situation. For wherever there's controversy, drama, no pun intended, right? That's never been a part of my process or my systems. Like, I'm never feeding. I know there's people that think like, oh, this is a PR stunt. Like, never feeding or setting up a stunt, right? But in terms of like exclusives, like, oh, we have this like great information or something we want to share about the album. Like, of course, like I would want, my friend to have the exclusive. But when it comes to the client, it's just like, if you love me and you say you're my friend, then you respect the fact that I have to do what's best for my client. And that's just, and if that level of understanding is just not there, then we're not friends and we can't do business.
And I will say there's been plenty of time. And also, too, I think it's like a trade thing. Because, like, for me, it's like, okay, maybe if I know this or you just giving me this, but then your client or whoever is like, we want to go another place with it. I'm like, I talk to her all the time. She'll call me about something else. There's been many times where I couldn't do something. But on the back end, it's like, ooh, I might get another story that's bigger. Or you might come to me and say, hey, this is announcing. Like, so it's a transactional thing as well for me. But I want to talk about when, like, so Cardi says, patients be like, what the fuck? There's a lot of moments, because y'all don't stage these things, but people always think things are staged. So, like, the Harper's Bazaar party moment. What
was that?
Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, the fight at the Harper's Bazaar party.
First of all, she didn't even hear She wasn't there when Cardi made the record because you heard it when Cardi played it for you. You were surprised when she said,
yeah,
Patientce,
I wasn't there for when she recorded the record.
So
she
then you
played
heard
it for
you was
me.
like, what the fuck in real life?
I was just like taken back because I was like, why did it have to be me? But I mean, I guess it only makes sense because a lot of people probably think that there's this yes man complex in our relationship, and it's the complete opposite. Like, I'm gonna always have her back, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's never gonna be a time that I would stand down from that. But at the same time, where we don't agree respectfully, right? And we handle that like adults. And I think we do a really good job of like, we know that our loyalty as like friends and basically sisters is, you know, the core of our relationship. But it really doesn't blur the lines when it comes to like being direct about, you know, business decisions or just, you know, life decisions. We don't always see eye to eye. So there are plenty of times that she does. And I don't know why the internet thinks that I like have these strings and control what she says or what she can do. Like, I think her fans kind of have this idea, like, take her phone, make her get off the internet. Like, it's a grown-ass woman. Like, she's going to do and say as she pleases. And yes, from time to time, she asks for suggestions or advisement, but there are some times where she jumps out the window and she do and say whatever she want to do. And I am looking like, what the fuck? Like,
you navigate, so like the talent that's coming into Fifth and Freedom, I think that what I was going to ask was, there's a lot of those moments and they're big because of who she is and because of her personality. How do you in real time strategize and figure it out where it doesn't hit her brand or her business too hard and it works out in her favor, or at least her narrative is in her favor?
I would almost say it's kind of like in the reverse. Like, I'm not thinking when something happens like damage control, which, oh my God, like the Association of Publicists, please don't kill me. I'm not thinking like, oh my God, I need to get in crisis control, because I think what you build from the beginning and the tone you set with your client in terms of authenticity is what carries you through those moments. Because when those moments happen, I don't have to jump into damage control mode because we've been who we are from the beginning. Yeah. She's been authentic in who she is from the beginning. She's been unapologetic and unfiltered from the beginning. So it really sometimes in a lot of these moments just doubles down on who she's always shown up as. So I think it's really in the opposite for me. Like, I'm not in that moment. Of course, if it's absolutely crazy, let's talk through it. Let's figure it out. But it's not a lot of like spinning of the narrative and coming up with things that may not necessarily be true to help save face. Like, and I love that she's just a woman that she just stands on her shit. Like, damn, I did say that and I fucked up, but you know, fuck it. So,
do you feel, with your PR background, right? Do you feel that all publicity is good publicity?
I don't know. I understand it. I understand what it means, but I do still feel like things can be harmful. Like, unless all you care about is the attention, that's the advantage of, you know, everything is publicity. But if you truly care about a brand that's going to build value and be valuable X amount of years from now, then you do have to care about what could possibly be harmful. And I think a lot of times for her, she gets this backlash of, you don't have to explain everything. You don't need to say everything. And I think there are some times that I'm kind of like, I feel like we could have not said something. But I also feel like I love that she feels the need to set the record straight. Yeah. So that way, when a conversation does come up with a potential brand partner or, a potential partner just in business or, you know, what have you, it's like, I made sure to clear my name and set the record straight. And if what I'm saying is not true, you prove to me that it's not true. And I feel like she calls a lot of people's bluff, and she makes sure to stand on exactly what she thinks and how she feels. And sometimes that comes out in Instagram comments or tweets or what have you. But, you know, I don't think that all publicity is good publicity. Yeah. I think that all publicity is attention, but all attention is not good attention. So,
and sometimes the algorithm don't know the difference, whether somebody's saying good or bad things about you. They just think, damn, she got mentioned a million times in an hour.
Right. But it's like, what is she getting mentioning for? Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, especially if it's something that defames your character. It's one thing if it's about something frivolous like wardrobe or a rumor, like a surface, you know, gossip topic, but something that defames your character and just your moral compass, like those still have real repercussions. A lot of people think that no one has any sort of principle anymore when it comes to these businesses. Everybody just wants a name. They just want a celebrity. You know, they'll pay for it. No, like there's still moral clauses in contracts. There are still people that have principles, and they want to know how you show up as a person. So if you are defaming who I am and my character, which could possibly stand in the way or intervene or interfere with what I'm building, then I'm going to set the record straight.
Can you go a little deeper on that? Like, how do these salacious headlines hurt or help deals with corporate brands?
I mean, they do hurt, right? Especially if it's a lot of brands. The brand partnerships go deeper than just the money. Like, what's the upfront guarantee? Like, how are we structuring this partnership? Like, there's still compliance at the end of the day. They want to. A lot of brands still want to know this is a decent person. They show up as a decent person, and when they go out into the space or in the marketplace to represent my brand or my company, they can be trusted, right? Because they've obviously spent millions of dollars in resources and manpower to build whatever it is that they're building, and they don't want to compromise that. So a salacious headline, if you think about press, right, there's never a time where a headline will go up about a particular person or topic, and they don't in that article recount every other thing that is attached to that person. So, and also, right before this happened, such and such was supposed to sign a deal or is signing a deal with this company. Damn. So now you're, you know, if I'm a publicist for this brand and I'm getting these Google alerts, this person who I'm supposed to be doing business with is now showing up in my alerts in correlation to the name of my brand or my company in a terrible way. So to your point even earlier, is all press good press? That's not good press for them. Especially depending on whatever that brand is built upon. If they're geared towards mothers or they're geared towards a certain type of audience, and that headline is either prejudiced or hurtful against that audience, that's not good press. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, salacious headlines do, you know, come with a certain level of damage when you're building outside of just your self brand. And most talent, if they're smart, they're building a brand of their own so that they can collaborate and partner with other companies and other brands. How
do you decide when an artist should lean into controversy versus when they should fall back?
Leaning into controversy, I think it depends. If what we're considering controversy is something that is authentic or true to the person, then you lean in because it's who you are, right? If the controversy is centered around something negative or counterproductive, something that if it continues in the press cycle will continue to hurt the brand or hurt the name, then you lean out of it. But I've been so big, and, you know, obviously Cardi played a really big role in this, that coming into this industry 10 years ago, there were so many people that said, if you team up with her and put your name next to her, you're going to box yourself in. You'll only be able to represent people that's urban. You guys won't make it past Love and Hip Hop. Was
they wouldn't
literally
even give y'all clothes for her. Remember, y'all were trying to, she was Love and Hip Hop was about to happen. Y'all were trying to style her. They wouldn't even give y'all clothes for her.
We didn't have a budget for a stylist at the time, and we were just kind of figuring out per project with hair and makeup. So I was literally Googling like how to ask for wardrobe from brands. So I would go out, I would get to New York early, come up the turnpike, and go to all these different boutiques and try to pull. And this one boutique said, like, she's not our girl. Like, this doesn't represent who our woman is. And years later, obviously, it's like, hey, we have these clothes, we want her to wear them. Like, and, you know.
And then how do you proceed with that?
Well, that's a calling conversation. I've learned my scope and my boundaries, but, you know, like, that's a wardrobe conversation. But at the same time, you know, I can be a little petty sometimes.
You know, right.
It is strange to me. Cardi is an interesting case study for me, because I'm like, if you couldn't see Cardi coming, you had no vision. Like, I thought Cardi was a superstar from the day one. I didn't know in what, but you just knew this girl is going to be a star.
Absolutely. I mean, some people are programmed to think that the only way to success is the easiest path to success, which is something that is easy to digest and easy to package. And that for them is the selling point. I can easily package them. I know what kind of clothes to put on them, do their hair, put them here, put them there, get them a deal here. Like, that for me, some people think that that's just the easiest path to success, but I still don't know necessarily what it is in that moment where it was just like, this is, to me, more relatable, and just more people are behind the 8 ball than they are in front of it. So if you can't build every single brand on on this idea that this is a fantasy life, or this is a lifestyle you can't have, or this is a person you can't sit with or you can't hang out with. Like, we're in a day and age now, and we saw it early, like, people want to see themselves in the people that they support or the people that they listen to. And even with Fifth and Freedom, we recently signed our first overall management act, season 4. Which is, thank you.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, what is it?
So there's a Netflix show that's out right now called Building the Band. It's a singing. It was a singing show, not a competition necessarily, but kind of where they basically, it was set up like Love Island. So all of the contestants started off inside of a pod. You couldn't see anyone else, so you had to pick your band member based on the sound of their voice, how well they sung, or you know, only what you could hear, not what you could see. So you formed your band in that way, and then you, at the, you know, I forget, maybe the second or third episode, you were revealed to your other band members. So I was in Turks, and we decided not to go to dinner that night. We binge watched this show on Netflix, and I immediately fell in love with this group because they were so different. Each and every group member represents someone else, represents a different audience, a different type of person, and everyone thought that they were going to win. I thought they were going to win, right? And the winners that did win are extremely talented, beautiful girls. And I think that the industry, and depending on who's navigating what conversation, people are determining what is more marketable versus what is not. And what is more marketable sometimes gets the upper hand or the opportunity first. And I DM'd them, and I was just like, I like y'all.
I love that.
And I want to work with y'all. And my friend was just like, you just DM people. I DM people all the time. Like, amazing. There's no shame and no ego when it's something that I want or something that we want to do. And they DM'd me back maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later, and we immediately clicked. And I knew that from the synergy of my relationship with Cardi and what we built, I know that I have a vision. I could see the same thing that I saw like in her, I see in them. And when I brought it to my partner, Bun, he immediately saw it too. It wasn't even a conversation of like, I don't know. It was like, they're fire as hell. Like, we want to work with them, and I want to use every network and resource I have to help build them out. So
I think that is so dope. Has that ever been a thing though? Have you ever said, look, Bun, this is why I brought him to your partner, and he's like, has he ever disagreed about any talent that you ever wanted to?
I don't know. I don't know. Have you ever disagreed about talent?
It get wishy-washy.
I think it's more or less
say.
like, I think he's super compromising when it comes to me, and I'm like, oh, I have this vision. But then like, I'm not as, and that's why it's a partnership and there's a balance, right? Because I'm way more like brand center, brand focused, building out, you know, the creative vision, the brand DNA identity. He's like more on the music side in terms of like the ear and like seeing the talent. So it's like, I'm very, like there's, you know, you have your rap, you have your, and sometimes I'm just like, and I'm like super millennial. Like, so like the new rap and the new like the TikTok phase and everything. I'm like, sometimes I'm just not with it. But he's like, no, I'm telling you, like, give it a year. And I will say every time he's ever said that, like a year has passed and he's like, see, I told you, like, this is, you know, so he has his finger definitely more on the pulse. But, you know, when it came to season 4, we were like completely aligned. Like, we want to represent them, and you know,
that's because you have a partner you can trust, though.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
No, for sure.
How'd you get your name, Patientce? I mean, I know you. That's your birth name.
Her mom.
I know that. I know that's your birth name. But did your mom tell you why she named you that?
I think when I asked her, she said something to the effect of like, with everything that was happening in the room at the time, she was yelling out for like, or she was saying she needed patience or something because I was supposed to be Alexis. I think it was supposed to be my name.
But that was her car? She had a car? She had a Lexus?
What?
No, she didn't.
Did you know Lauren's dad in Delaware?
Oh my God.
No, she don't know my dad.
I met Lauren.
Neither did she. Listen, let me ask you another question.
He always
You know what?
Tell us more about your...
No. I got one question because I don't know why they take digs at this girl like that. They know that don't nobody know her father. Listen, so this is another PR question right now. You hear about this a lot, but do people really do publicists really put celebrities together as PR stunts? Like couples. Like, is it like a...
I'm like,
some couples
They gonna
Like,
dog me out in
do
their
they-
Facebook group chat.
You can't tell me. I feel you. But I
mean,
always
I
hear
do.
about it,
There are people that still believe that they need stunts to help drive an album or release or
Really?
build engagement on social media. And I personally feel like if you need a stunt like that, there's something else missing or lacking. Like to put someone, I've never done it.
I never thought it was real.
Some people do. I mean, there are some people that are like, we need a good stunt. We need something that's going to drive a conversation, especially if people feel like they're losing momentum or they're not being talked about enough. Like, there are people that, not everybody, but there are people that still practice that.
Jesus Christ. I remember they were saying it about Moneybagg Yo and Meg Thee Stallion, and they were both hot at that time. So I didn't feel like that was one that they could have said that about. But that was like in conversations. I'm like, they both like at their peaks. Why would that have to happen? And I just never thought it was real. But you hear about those things, and now I got a real live person with a publicist background, and I just wanted to know.
I have a question for you. I guess some people would ask, like, everybody's story doesn't end up like Cardi B's. So when a person comes to you, they're new, how do you take them from 0 to 100? And what happens if it doesn't work?
9 times out of 10, I don't take on many new clients. I think early on it was like there was this level of like high energy and momentum, and people were reaching out like, I want to work with you. And I'm like, yeah, like, let's do it. Like, I want to build my roster. And I thought that quantity is what I needed in terms of like building a really successful agency. But once I reached a place of like more maturity and understanding and experience, you really want to build with the person that, and everyone doesn't get the opportunity to do that because some people, you know, they switch up, they change. But you really want to build with the person that's turning the lights on for you. A lot of celebrities and people of, you know, people with public profiles, what have you, they don't value their team in a way where they feel like credit is always due, or they feel like they want to share with the world. These are the people that are helping me build. From the very beginning, there was never any like, there was no energy that was like, I don't want people to know who works with me. Right? Like, and I think too, that's why a lot of people will say like, I pioneered like this shift in the PR industry because
they was mad at you in the beginning.
Oh,
I remember that.
there are still Facebook group chats.
They used to be so mad at Patientce because they used to feel like people just knew her too much, or she was trying to be known too much. But Cardi always platformed Patientce a lot, talked about her. And also, I think there was a lot of times where you were all she had. We would see you with her, so people wanted to know who you were.
By the way, I grew up
old school publicists were mad about that.
I don't know why, because that's the old school way of doing things. Remember Lizzie Grubman? She had a whole TV show on MTV.
And she was a publicist?
Yes. Remember Margaret Brito? Like
Kelly Catrone is why I wanted to be a publicist. It was her show on Bravo, Kel on Earth, that I was like, ooh. Like, these are the people that help the famous people either be famous, get famous, stay famous. Like, these are the brains. These are the, you know, the people that are making it happen. But I think early on, and my personal opinion is that where people can't do is what drives that like rhetoric around just like hate. Like, you hate what someone else is doing because you can't show up in the same way that they're showing up.
People that can do, people that can't criticize.
Exactly. And I do feel like that's where a lot of it came from. Like, well, you know, I wouldn't necessarily always wear black to a carpet, but I also wouldn't be competing with my client. Right. But it's just like, I don't want to wear black. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do I have to fall into this idea of being a shadow that moves this person around? Because even when I was younger and I look at the people, I was watching Belly the other day and I'm looking at the credits now and I'm like, you don't know that it was this mirage of people that was making all of these things happen and making your favorite artist be your favorite artist. Yeah. And that's also why, you know, when we were younger, you didn't put being a publicist or a manager or a stylist or a video director on your list of things you wanted to be when you grew up, because there was no representation of that. It was just, here's the star, and the star is the star because they're a star. And now as you've gotten older and people are giving you purviews into all of the different pieces that make these things happen, I think that why would you be mad at that? Because now we've only created a conversation for someone who thought they were limited to only wanting to do a certain, certain careers or take certain career paths, now their eyes are open to what is really possible in a world full of creativity and music and entertainment. So, I mean, a lot of people were definitely mad at that, but I think that also came from being with a person who was building in a celebrity space that was also not your average celebrity. She platformed everyone on her team. She, she helped, and everyone obviously was already naturally talented. And I do feel like what is for you is for you. And I feel like we all would have ended up somewhere on a path of success in what we were doing. Right. But she helped fuel that from not shielding us from the world, but saying like, this who's getting me dressed, this is my girl, this is whomever, and allowing us to sit at so many different tables and be a part of so many different conversations. Conversations is what put me in a position to be able to build outside of where I thought I wanted to go. I only thought I wanted to be a publicist. Whole time I'm I'm an innovator, manager, creative director, right? So I don't know how we got there.
So if artists want to connect with Fifth and Freedom, how do they do that? And I love what y'all talk about. You said you want to empower authentic talent, provide tools for financial literacy, mental wellness, and ownership opportunities. Yes. That a lot of management companies aren't looking to do that for their talent.
No. They want their talent to show up and produce a really quality, timeless product, music or whatever the product is, yet their mental wellness is left to the wayside. You can't show up if you're not here, and you can't show up if you're not here. Like a lot of people are lost from just a mind, body, and soul POV, but they're still being sent call sheets to show up at 4 a.m. and get your glam done. But they're lost, or they're empty, or they need someone to talk to. So I feel like, if anything, when I just think of things in a logistical way, and we were thinking about what services to provide, I want my talent, we want our talent to always show up as their best selves first, and then they'll create their best product. Right. So mental wellness, and then also, the equitable opportunities. Early on in our career, it was all these one-off partnerships. Oh, we got a bag for you. We got $1 million for you, right? And back then, it's like, we young, we brown and black, $1 million is a lot of money. But as you get older and you start to really, break down and try to understand, how does all this work? Like, where did you even come up with that number? And it's based on what they see your value. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to pay you less than what you're valued for. So I teamed up with a banker during the pandemic, and he started to flip the deals inside out to show me that this is how much media value and brand value your talent gave this company. This amount should have been this amount. So then understanding that, it's like, not only should we be getting upfront guarantee, we should be looking for equity and ownership. Because we're driving a lot of these brands, we're driving their valuation through the roof, and we're not getting anything on the exit. So that's when we started really talking about what to build, what we want that legacy to be, what we want that company to be. And that's what led into the joint venture with Revolve and Forward.
What is that?
For Cardi. So our partners at Revolve and Forward, we're building out a space in the fashion category and in the beauty category. And maybe November of almost 2 years ago, me and Cardi were on the phone. We pretty much talk every single day, all day. And we were just talking about the opportunities that were on the table at the moment, but what she really, really wanted. And she's like, I want my mogul moment. I know that the value that I've given these brands that I've worked with, I need to be putting that into my company. I want that for me. And I asked her, like, okay, like, so how do you want to do this? And, she was like, go find me the partners. And I immediately, literally hung up the phone, and I'm thinking through all of my contacts, like, who can we partner with? Who can we partner with? Because I also understand my talent enough to know, and understand her bandwidth enough to know that we're not in a space to design, fulfill, deliver. Like, we need partners that can carry a lot of the weight, and they're experienced and they're resourceful. And then she can show up and do what she does. And one thing that she's always done for me is put me in a position of power within her organizations, and empower me to mitigate those conversations and build in that way. So I was thinking, and I started looking up recent IPOs, and Revolve had just gone public, taken their company public, and I think their valuation at the time was between $2 or $3 billion. And I remember there was someone that I knew from my publicist days that was connected. Shout out to Adam and Jen at Walker & Dross. They represent Revolve, and they connected me. And maybe within 2 weeks, I had lunch with the CMO at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and I pitched this idea that I had of them partnering, not an influencer, not an ambassadorship. Like, we want to come together and build a completely separate entity from Revolve and from whatever else we're doing. And it took us about 1.5 years, and now Cardi is co-founder and partners with the owners of Revolve, Michael Mente, Arce, Mike K. And we've built a joint venture where she has a large ownership in what will be 2 companies in 2 different categories. So that, again, if she don't ever want to, and I'm not saying she's not, Barty Gang, please don't drag me. She never puts out another album after September 19th.
Ooh,
Make sure you guys pre-saved Am I the Drama. We would have built this equitable foundation that, she can do what she want when she want.
I do want to ask you one thing. I never asked Cardi this either. Why didn't she do the movie with Paramount?
Was it the assisted living movie?
Yeah, it was whatever. It was a movie that she was supposed to do it in like a week of filming. She pulled out, like, because I always felt like acting was a natural progression.
Yeah, she's, literally, like, yes, she is the drama in all of the ways, like, in the best ways. So
look at you plugging album titles.
I think one thing about it is she knows how to make hard decisions and have hard conversations. She wasn't in a space where she was ready to deliver in that way. I don't think she was there mentally. I think she maybe didn't feel like, and I'm just, from what I know. And one thing about Cardi is she always wants to be the absolute best in whatever she's doing. Like, she is such a competitor in that way, and she's so driven in that way that I think she evaluated what was in front of her and said, am I going to be able to show up and do my absolute best? No. And most people would have just done it anyway because they would have been afraid of letting people down, but she's never afraid of having the hard conversation or letting people down. And I think that's really kind of what it came down to. But she is segueing into TV and film this year. And next year, we're working on a few different projects. But she's definitely pulling her talents over to the TV and film side, and even the, an executive producer side. So
I love all things Cardi. Duh, right? But I love even more hearing you talk about how you challenged yourself doing these things like that, like you were just talking about the partnership with Forward and Revolve. Like, if that wouldn't have happened if you didn't challenge yourself, that wouldn't have happened. None of this you wouldn't be here if you didn't just say, if you gave up one day, like just that girl from Delaware, not I love that. This is such a self-made story.
Yeah, I could definitely say, thank you, Lolo.
Really am.
Yes, it's really dope too. Like, Loren, we grew up together. Like, we were going to parties in high school, and like Charlamagne has been someone that's seen our journey from the absolute very, very beginning. So it's just like I love that there are witnesses to this journey that know it wasn't overnight, and that also know, like, I don't really care what people think about me, but I do want them to know, like, this has always been me. Like, there's never been a time in my life where I said, I can't have, or I don't want to dream of this because it'll be hard to get. And I do have to, like, give a lot of that credit to my mother, because the way that you are brought up and what is instilled in you from the beginning in your household is what you will carry. Now, I believe that I was who I was at my core from the day that I was born. But I do believe that my mother she's never made me feel like you can't have what you want. I wanted to ice skate when I was 5. She bought me ice skates. I did a few lessons. I wanted to tap dance. I went to performing arts school for acting and singing. I wanted to leave and go to a regular high school because I saw True Life, I'm a Black cheerleader, and said I want to go to regular high school and I want to be a cheerleader for the football team. Like, I want to go to Europe. There was never a moment where she ever made me feel like what it is you want, you can't have. And I think just carrying that through is like, if it's here for us to see it, it's here for us to have it. And God won't show you nothing you can't have. And I just live by that, so.
Love that.
Man, thank you for coming, Patience.
Yes.
We ain't gonna never beat the We on Cardi B payroll allegation. It's like, damn, they interviewing Patience. They interviewing Cardi's brand manager. Like, we ain't never beat no
So proud of you.
allegations.
Congrats on Fifth and Freedom. Those artists are going to be lucky. Talent going to be lucky to have y'all.
man.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you and Bun.
Yes,
Thank
Bun
you.
too.
Bun.
Sure.
How do they reach out? Do you even want them to?
Yeah, they
Okay.
can definitely reach us. We have Fifth and Freedom on Instagram. You can reach out. We're very active on our Instagram, and obviously, you can see the services and things that we provide.
Are you looking for something in particular right now?
I don't think we're ever looking for something in particular. It really is just a feel thing. Like, we have a really, really dope emerging artist that's coming out of Delaware, Billy Bird, who we've been working with for a few years, but now we're in a better position and have a lot more. There's a lot more opportunity in like building her out, because breaking artists out of very small markets is very difficult. But she's so talented, she's so raw. Like, so I don't think we're really looking for anything, but we're also not looking.
Got you.
So
not looking.
do with that information what you will.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, it's Patientce Foster. It's the Breakfast
Thank
Club.
you so much.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?